Welcome, fans, to episode 84 of Rangers Ed. This is your host, Cousin Ed, with my co-host, Coach Ed. We're missing Little Ed today. What's up, Coach?
What's up, fellas?
And our producer, Mikey. What's up, Mike?
Going on, guys? Nice fresh shave. Nice little shine in the video there.
I like that. You got the lighting. It looks good. Everything looks nice on that end over there. But better than Coach's. Little Ed is unavailable at the moment. He might be joining us. We'll see.
Well, I
But,
see Eddie dropped off my light, but I didn't hook it up or anything, so maybe next time.
All right. Well, he's got the light. He just didn't hook it up. It is what it is. But I mean, dude, there's a lot going on. We got 4 games to talk about, a lot of drama around the team. So let's jump right into it. But first, let's talk about the jersey numbers, sponsored by Oscar's Pro Stitch Hockey. Corey Locke is the only number 84 they've ever had, 2010. And you might remember Corey Locke. No, you won't. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I was about to tell us. I wanted you to think there was a story there, but there isn't one. So, a couple transactions of note this week. Johnny Brodzinski called up. Ben Harper called up. Zach Jones to Hartford. Coach, quick, what do you think of Zach Jones going to Hartford? Do you think it was earned, or do you think maybe they just want to get him more ice time? I'm not sure.
There's nothing to do with any salary cap issues because I mean he was playing a few games. I don't understand. I guess they weren't happy or they want to get him more consistent time on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Harper makes like $200K less, so maybe that'll bank some more deadline cap space if they're going to roll with Hayek for now. It makes sense, but I don't really think Jones did anything to deserve a demotion, but hopefully he gets a lot of playing time in Hartford and is back up later in the season. And always good to see Johnny Brodzinski up. I know that's a Little Ed favorite, so I'm sure he'll have a lot to say about Johnny Brodzinski.
I think Johnny Brodzinski does he have a brother on North Dakota or Minnesota or somebody? Because I was watching college hockey.
He's got a great shot. He's got an excellent shot. He's known as a shooter. Did you know that?
Who?
Johnny Brodzinski.
I know they say it every time, but I'm saying
him and
he comes from a goal-scoring family. We heard all about it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, does he have a brother that plays in college, NCAA? I think I saw.
I'm not sure.
I was watching a game on, sometimes they have the college games on.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I want to say Minnesota or Michigan. I was watching.
So he's up and in the lineup and, taking Ryan Carpenter's spot, technically. So they start off in Ottawa and then 3 home games, back-to-backs with Ottawa, home and home, and then Chicago and St. Louis. They start off with a 3-1 win. Pretty good defensive effort. Yaro Halak gets his first win as a Ranger. Then they come home, lose to Ottawa. They blow the lead, lose in overtime on 2 late Brady Tkachuk goals. Then they lose 5-2 to Chicago. Disastrous game. We'll get into that in a little bit. And then St. Louis comes to town, who might be the only other team that was predicted to be good this year. They might be the only team in more disarray than the Rangers are overall. Disastrous goaltending in that game. 6-4. We got the 2 points. So we sit currently 5th in the Metro, 14th in the NHL, 12-10-5 overall. Not the best, but hanging in there, hovering around a wild card spot just outside of the playoffs. But the big story is Jacob Trouba. After the Chicago Blackhawks game, 5-2 loss, gets interviewed in the locker room, and he had a lot of things to say about his teammates and possibly the coaches, honestly. He's said, "Guy, it's a hard game. Coach, it's a hard game. You got to play hard." It's an old cliche right up Coach Ed's alley, right? You got to love that. Not just going out there for a twirl. Need to bring a little more passion to our game. Got to have the will. You got to make your own luck, things like that. And there was one point in the interview where the reporter asks him a question and he pauses for a solid maybe 45 to 60 seconds.
A minute?
It was a long It was a long pause.
He paused for a minute.
And he just stared down, and then he said, "Careful what I have to say." And then he answered very generally, which leads me to believe that he was either going to say something about the coaches or the GM or Panarin, Zibanejad, or any other number of players.
What makes you say that he was calling out the coaches when you said that a few minutes ago?
Well, I think it's just a guess. It's speculation. I mean, I don't have
you're
any basis.
speculating, or people have been reading, saying shit?
Well, it's been both. I am speculating. It's
Because
both,
I
though.
know-
That there is speculation from others, but I think when you look at the Rangers overall, and we all, the diehard fans, we watch the post game interviews, we watch the coaching interviews, and it is literally just garbage watching. Like there's no reason to watch them. They just say the same things every game. We got to give our best effort. Just carry into the next game, just one thing at a time. A coach's decision. I thought it was a good effort. The guys are trying, they're practicing hard. Like, we got to just do better. It's all the same crap. They never, ever give an interview like Jacob Trouba gave there. I haven't seen them, at least. So
you're not going to get that interview. I mean, unless it's John Tortorella.
Well, I'm saying as a policy, I feel like the organization pushes that. Keep it internal. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's fine.
Well, you seem frustrated with it. So you are saying it's a bad thing.
No, I'm not. I'm saying if I was a player or a coach or a GM, I would want a tight ship. I wouldn't care so much what the fans think. I get it. I do understand that perspective. It's frustrating as a fan because to me, it's garbage watching. There's no reason to watch it, but I understand it. But at the same time, when he says careful what I have to say, that means that he's going to say something that will get him into trouble with the organization. He wants to say something.
Well, not only into trouble with the
organization,
but he's getting trouble. He doesn't want to call out certain players because it's going to, create a problem in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
There's a time and place. You don't put that on national TV and stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't know if. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. It could be something that the organization holds you to, but every sport, the organizations have a policy on media, so you can't just say it's the Rangers. But he could be talking about some of his teammates that he doesn't want to name names because then it becomes a very awkward situation.
Yeah. Then what was the purpose of that?
I don't know.
Here, I'm gonna play the part for you. One second, I'm trying to get it. You just have to understand to see it, I think, Coach. Oh, we got little Ed joining from the car, it looks like.
A little guest from the car. He won't be able to video.
Am I good? What's up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
Oh, man, I'm shot. Long day.
Yeah, tough.
What'd I miss?
Well,
we're still on the Trouba, the choo-choo train.
We're talking about the Trouba interview after in the locker room, and I want to get a little help here on this one because Coach Ed is kind of poo-pooing some of the things I'm saying, but
I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't, you're speculating.
No, it's all right. Little Ed knows what's going on. So the pause that he has on that question, and then he says, "Careful what I have to say." What did you take from that?
My first impression from it was that he wanted to call out certain players or maybe even the coach or maybe just leadership in general. But he definitely wanted to say something very specific, and he caught himself and then just kind of said something more in general terms.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
And the morale and whatever.
That's what I think too. So here's the clip, Coach.
What do you think was missing from the response in the third period?
careful what I say.
It's a really long pause.
I just say the energy, the will, the fight, the determination. You get a goal, big goal going into the third, and come out and don't do much of anything with it. It's definitely disappointing.
I don't think first of all, it wasn't a minute pause. It was a
No,
long
it
pause.
felt like a minute though.
It feels
Um,
like a minute when you're
no,
listening to it for sure.
I get it. And it was definitely a defining pause, but from that, I'm going to say he's calling out certain players. That's my opinion.
Well, I think that's what we said. It could be that like a Panarin or Zibanejad or something, or it could be he didn't like some of the coach's decisions in the third period. Absolutely, could be that. But
Well,
he's
he
not
was saying he's got to play with passion. So
that would be a player. I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's just calling out all the leaders in the locker room to like enough already. I mean, the guy had 3 fights in these games, 2 booming hits.
we all played
hockey.
hockey. We've all here played hockey at some level. And when your teammates aren't playing at the level that's going to take to win, you get pissed off. It's no different for a player in the NHL, other than the of the magnitude of what you're playing for. But it's human nature that he's going to be pissed off if he sees Panarin doing cross-ice passes all game. I remember when I was playing in the bullshit college hockey, D3, whatever the hell it was, I'd be yelling at guys in the locker room. The hell you doing? Come on.
Well, I mean,
over and over and over, not after they do one mistake, but over and over and over. I'm not just saying it's Panarin. You got to play with some energies. I don't know.
No, I understand that. So let's look at this though. So in the Blues game, the game after this, Lafreniere takes a bad offensive zone penalty. I mean, it was a hard forecheck. I didn't care that much about it, but yeah, I don't like offensive zone penalties. I get it. Intermission, Valley, these guys are saying you got to teach him a lesson. You got to bench him. Gallant promotes him to the first line. So that shows a little bit of Gallant making an adjustment, saying, I'm not going to bench the kid. But you want to send a message. You're not going to send a message to the team benching Lafreniere for an offensive zone penalty. You're going to send it when Panarin has the puck with 4 minutes to go, up 6-4 at the red line, and throws it across the blue line, like in the offensive zone, instead of just dumping it in, like Eddie's been saying all season. Panarin shouldn't be out there with the lead anymore. Like, it's just, that's how you send a message. You staple him to the bench. Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, those are the guys that he needs to hold accountable.
I agree 100%. It would do more if you bench a guy like Zibanejad for the young guys to say, holy shit, Zibby's getting benched.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes.
As opposed to benching Lafreniere, not that he wouldn't feel it, but he'd be like, all right, I'm young. I made a mistake. I'm getting benched.
No, he's not going to feel that. He's going to lose confidence.
Yeah. If he sees one of the veteran leaders getting benched for doing something bad or stupid or repetitive, then he's going to say, holy shit, I got to step my game up.
Yes. That part I agree with. Yes. But benching the young guys for these mistakes, you got to let them work through the mistakes and teach them.
All right. So he did that. The coach did that.
Yeah. No,
right.
so that was the first time, but he didn't bench Panarin. Panarin was back out there. He was out there with an empty net. When the other team is an empty net, why is Panarin on the ice? That means we're up by 1 or 2. The end of the game, Panarin should not be in the ice. -9, coach. That's your favorite stat. -9.
I have something to say about that. I told Eddie to remind me, but we got to talk about that. But I think it's ridiculous that he's even out there.
He shouldn't be out there. Bench him with a lead late in the game. Bench him.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. You don't have to actively bench him, discipline him, yell at him on the bench and say you're sitting for the rest of the game. Just don't put him out there whenever they have a lead. And if he doesn't get the message by that, then you have to actually discipline him. But certain players have to realize hey, I'm not supposed to be out there with a lead. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that.
Right.
You got us the lead, you got us there. Now it's up to the players, the defensive players. The players that are going to dump the puck in instead of try go for more points or dangle or whatever. We all know that's not Panarin's game. I get it. Not every player dumps the puck in. But then guess what? You're not allowed on the ice for the last 6 minutes of the game. Get your points in the first 15 minutes. in the first 45 minutes of the game, whatever it is, you're not going to get in the last 15.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly with that. I mean, but I think I just think he needs to take action again. There was another play in that game. Shesterkin makes this wild glove save on Braden Shen. He comes through the middle of the ice, makes this crazy glove save. It's like highlighted by the broadcast as like his best save, whatever. And I'm watching the replay, and it's caused solely by Zibanejad lazy on the back check and taking the wrong man. There was 2 defensemen back, and there were 3 Blues. Zibanejad goes to the guy with the puck and leaves the high slot open. Guy drops it back to Shen. He gets a crazy good chance. That's a play that if that was Kako or Lafreniere, they wouldn't see the ice. They would not see the ice for that. They'd be a defensive liability. They would not see the ice. So why does Zibanejad not get benched for that? But they do.
Forget the benching. That's unacceptable for Zibanejad to make that decision. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can't even, if I asked him that question, he can't even say nothing. He's just got to say, I screwed up. There could be no reason why he would do that as a player of his caliber.
And it's okay to screw up. I don't expect him to be perfect.
And a guy like that shouldn't screw up like that.
Right.
That should not happen. It doesn't happen to Marchand, doesn't happen to those caliber of players that are there in crunch time. And you're not going to win a Stanley Cup with a guy like that making that mistake over the course of the season.
Well, I think
he does it often. I've seen him do it. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
He's got to make the right play.
And so, Mike, and we got off topic a little bit, but it was a good transition. But Mike, I didn't ask you, what did you think of Trouba's comments?
I absolutely loved them. It was definitely necessary. I feel bad for him because I feel like he's the only one playing with his heart out right now. And I think it showed a little bit, there was a little fight. I feel like the team responded in a positive way. I don't think it's there yet where it needs to be, but.
I didn't see it, Mike, until, we got the goals last game. But when Kreider scored that shorthanded goal, that's when I saw the team jump on each other and he screamed. I think even Eddie texted us and said, I hope that Kreider yell gets us going or something like that.
I said, finally some passion.
Some passion, and because he yells, like, let's go, like, let's go. You see it. That's been missing this year. So that was good to see. So look, they're in Vegas right now. This is Wednesday, 10:30. The first period's probably ending. I don't know what's going on.
It's not over yet.
But hopefully that passion is there. Win or lose. I want them to win, obviously, but I want to see the team care and play like they want to, they want to win the Stanley Cup, because right now what you have is a country club atmosphere, frankly. Again, in my opinion, you have two cliques right now in this organization. You have the veteran star players who are locked into long-term deals and make millions of dollars. And you have this group of young players that are trying to find their way and find ice time. And I feel like there's a divide in the room a little bit, and it could be even between the vets. I don't know, but there's a divide in the room where those kids are being blocked from getting ice time by people who are, the team's invested in them. They've invested $50 million into 7 players for the next 3 to 7 years. So what are they realistically going to do with Vincent Trocheck if he doesn't try? Not that he's not trying, but hypothetically, what could they realistically do other than put him in the press box or bench him? What can they do with Panarin? I don't even know. I don't know that he's got a no move clause. He makes 1/8 of the salary cap. Nobody's got cap space to absorb his contract, so they can't even trade him even if he wanted to without eating money. It's tough. You have to maintain. The players need to, have a little bit of fear for their job, a little bit. That's why they always they always talk about this in other sports too. Contract years, right? Don't be fooled by a player in his contract year. Well, why do you think that happens?
Yeah, well, it's, again, human nature. It's always about human nature. And the way people are, and it's I mean, yeah, we talk. I'm on it all the time about how he's got these points and he's in a minus situation, and it's ridiculous.
Well, you
But
wanted
it-
to say something about Panarin. Now might be a good time.
Well, I was watching NHL Network, and they were talking about who's the kid on Dallas with the
Jason
points?
Robertson.
Jason Robertson. So they interview the coach. What's his name? DeBoer.
Yes.
And they said, "What do you think about this streak?" And he says, "The fact of the streak is that he's doing this 19 game point scoring streak without cheating." So I'm going, what does he mean without cheating? He's not getting excessive minutes. He's playing only 12 to 14 minutes a game. He's a plus, I think he was a plus 16. He's not playing over power. He's playing half the power play and getting off when he's supposed to. The coach went on about 5 or 6 points, and that's what he considers quote unquote cheating. And it's everything that Panarin doesn't do.
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that, but that was the coach's mindset. He said he's doing it without cheating. That's what's impressing him the most.
I
He
like
said
that
he's
term.
not just skating around, looping around. He's back checking, he's getting open, he's forechecking, he's taking the body, he's playing the game, and he's getting this point scoring streak. He's getting open at the right time and so on. It was a very interesting little interview. It was only about a minute long or less, but I thought it was pretty cool when he explained it like that.
Well, it's an interesting thing. I mean, on the one hand, everybody can't be a complete player. It's like it's akin to like a baseball player, right? Like a guy like Jeff McNeil who hits 320, great contact hitter, but he doesn't hit for power. He's going to hit 10 homers, right? And then you have another guy who can hit over 250. He's a 230 hitter, but he can hit 40 home runs, right? So they're specialized. They have different skills or whatever. So I understand Panarin. I'm not expecting Panarin to be Patrice Bergeron. I'm just expecting him to dump the puck in when they're up with 5 minutes or less to go. Dump it in. That's it. Other teams know he's going cross ice, and I was watching the Blues game. They're literally just standing. They're not even going back. All the defensemen just move up when Panarin gets the puck into the neutral zone.
I've been saying this for 2 years.
No, I know, but it's really like when you focus on it.
It started in the playoffs last year. It's one of the reasons why they couldn't do anything against Tampa.
And his giveaways were bad in the playoffs last year, and it's continuing.
And I don't understand how. That's the one thing, the bone I got to pick with Gallant. I don't understand how he doesn't get frustrated with that.
That's all coaching. That's clear as
to
day
me
on
is
tape.
definitely coaching.
Yeah.
There's no way you can't see that. There's no, even Valaket has said it between periods that he's got to stop at these cross ice passes at certain times. How does the coach not see it?
So Valaket's been saying some things in the post games that surprised me. Yeah, MSG is known to be like a shill company, meaning that like they don't really criticize the Rangers that much. But Micheletti, Valaket, they've been criticizing the team. And Valley suggested Panarin should be in the press box pretty strongly after I think it was after the Blackhawks game.
Yeah, it was.
He pretty much said like I would scratch him at this point. He didn't say Panarin, but he said there are certain millionaires.
Yeah.
And so I mean that could be anybody, but he's talking about Panarin. And the thing is, the guy is just so good. I mean, he just farts out assists. Like I haven't seen a winger fart out assists like Panarin. Like he'll play like crap for a month and have like 25 assists. It's insane.
I mean that's the thing. Like you said it before. Like you're not expecting him to be a Patrice Bergeron. He can't expect himself to be a Patrice Bergeron. There's nothing wrong. I said it before. There's nothing wrong with just playing, going after the points. You got us here. You had 3 assists this game. Take a seat for the rest of the game. We're gonna put out guys that dump the fuck in. Or if the Rangers are down. Or if the Rangers are down by 2 goals, then guess who's going to be out on the ice? Panarin. Right. So It's like it goes both ways, dude. Like he has to understand as a player. Gallant has to understand that you're able to bench an $11 million a year player, or maybe it's Chris Drury telling it to play him, or the ownership. Who the hell knows? But either way, yeah, something's got to change in that department. And there's nothing wrong, like I said, with him just taking a seat for the last 6 minutes of the game or whatever the case may be, especially in the playoffs.
I wouldn't consider that a benching. It's just it being a strategy and a coaching situation.
That's what I mean.
This is
what
what
I said before. You don't have to bench him. You just
this
have
is
to be
what
like,
this is
listen,
what you
this
should
isn't your
call
part
it.
of the game.
It's not a benching. It's a strategic deployment.
Yeah, there you
players.
go. And
So-
again, I've said this before too.
It's like saying you're not a
Is that a
snitch,
cousin Ed-
you're
is that
a
a cousin Ed
cooperating
Patton right
witness.
When Barry Trotz got it into the head of Ovechkin that he's not going to be out there at certain times, they went on to win the Stanley Cup, and Ovechkin gave into that fact. And
Well,
he
Ovechkin
knew it.
changed the way he played. That's
Right,
part
right.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he didn't
So-
give in. He changed his. He changed.
Well, you
the
know
way
what
he
I'm
played, so
saying.
he was
I don't
able
mean
to
he
play the full
gave.
game.
I don't mean
Yeah.
he gave in. I mean he realized what it would take, and he
He
did
bought in. He
it.
bought,
He bought in. Sorry, he bought in.
So the difference is Panarin has no reason to do that if Gallant is going to continue to use him all of the time in all situations. Every situation Panarin's used except penalty killing. Every single one. He's only he should only be used in offensive whatever. The point's been made. The point's been made. I think if you got any final thoughts on Panarin right now.
No, I think we're beating a dead horse.
So Gallant, speaking of Panarin, so Gallant, like I said, he doesn't bench Laffy, even though Hank and Valley both said it would be a good learning experience to bench him after that offensive zone penalty. Promotes him with Kakko to Zibanejad's line. Laffy gets a goal and assist in the third period. Kakko, again, his hard work causes the first goal, but he just can't find points. I've never seen a player just not be able to finish or find points like Kakko. It's unbelievable.
Hitting a post.
He hits the post, then he dekes the goalie, and the puck rolls off his stick. I don't know. Something's got to give. With
I was listening to that game on the radio. I heard the post on the radio.
It was such a nice play, man. He came down with so much speed, 2-on-1 with Laffy. It was like I was like, oh man, Laffy and Kakko 2-on-1. I just get super excited when it's the young guys that do that, and he just rips it right off the post. I feel bad for the guy. But anyway, the question is, how long is this line gonna last? I love it. Let him play with some good talent like Zibanejad. But coach, realistically, how long is it before Kreider and VC are back with Zibanejad? Is it one period? Is it two shifts? Is it two periods? Is it a few games? Like, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I guess tonight will tell. If we're watching tonight, we'll see if he's going to stick with it or not. If he's stuck with it, if he started it at all. Did they? I didn't see any of the releases on the projected lines.
Yeah, they projected the line to start the game. They practiced together, so they're projected to start the game. I give it one period at most, and then I say Kreider's back with Zibanejad. Yeah, because again, these guys like there's like some cliquish stuff going on. Like it doesn't matter. Zibanejad wants to play with Kreider, and he loves VC, and he's not going to bury VC in the lineup. And I don't know. I just don't think he's going to stick with it unless they come out in the first period and score like 3 goals or something.
Well,
like
maybe
that.
that's
I get it
Gallant's
one
way.
period.
Maybe that's the coaching staff's way of separating those clicks a little bit, like Panarin. Oh, I want to play. I only want to play with Strome. Oh, I want to play with Kratzer. Maybe that's his way of saying, let's separate this and get everybody together. I mean, I think that should be done in practice a lot, but I don't know. I personally don't like the switching of all these lines constantly. I'm more of a fan of giving them a chance for 8 to 10 games. I mean, every
Don't you
time
think there's a
everybody gets
balance, though?
excited.
You're running out of time. You got to find something that works. So don't you think it's a little? There's a balance between the two.
Yeah, of course. But what you're going to play them for a game? It works, and then you're going to play them for a period. You got to give them 3 or 4 games. It's got to be some kind of a variable where you're judging it. You can't just say it's at 4 periods. Oh, let's switch it.
Right? It's not working clearly. I agree with that, but I think that it is time to change the lines at this point. But he's just changing them too much all season. I agree with that generally. But anyway, let's see. Hopefully he leaves them together and gives them a chance to develop something, because that would be great for the organization if Laffy and Kakko can find some success with Zibanejad. That could be a solid line for 3 or 4 years. Just leave it there and just let them play. Let them learn and let them play. Coach, speaking of Kravtsov, and you mentioned him a second ago. So Kravtsov, back in the lineup, stays healthy, plays a couple good games, scores a goal. Heedle's back tonight. Coach Gallant leaves Brodzinski in as the fourth center, scratches Kravtsov, and puts Gaudreau with Heedle and Panarin on the second line. Can you explain to me why, when the Rangers win, Kravtsov can't draw back into the lineup because the coach will say, hey, we won. Like, I'm going to go with the same lineup that we just won with. Rangers won last game, but it's okay to pull Kravtsov or a young player, insert young player. It's okay to pull them from the lineup after a win, but we can't take out a veteran and insert a young player after a win. I don't know why he changed the lineup at all. With Heedle coming back, you just take Brodzinski's clearly the filler, remove him out, or take Blais out, who's done nothing. And for 2 years, Blais done nothing. They highlight him the entire Blues game like he caused a goal. He was a big reason his goal was scored. Give me a break, dude. The guy is literally slow as molasses. He's done nothing. He hasn't scored a goal as a Ranger yet. He's not scored a goal as a Ranger. I just want to point that out to everybody. I know he got hurt. I get it, but 0 goals, 0 goals. Why is Kravtsov out, Coach? What has he done?
Look, I told you a few weeks ago. I just think Gallant doesn't like his style of play, and it's not going to happen. One of them's going to go.
It's crazy.
That's my opinion. It's my opinion. Whether you agree with it or not, I'm saying I'm not 100% agreeing with it. But if you're a coach and you don't like the way a guy plays, it just pisses you off. You don't want to put him out. You don't. It's just not there.
I think
the way it is. Again, it's human nature. He's just got it. He's got it. He might have it in for him. He just doesn't like him as a player
or a person.
Mike Keenan was famous for that. He might be holding a grudge, Gallant, about what he did last year. He might not. I don't know.
Well, that's smart. Instead of trying to win hockey games,
I'm not saying it's smart. You're asking me a question. I'm giving you an answer.
I you're probably right. I just think it's ridiculous. I don't get it.
Well, I'm confused. I want to know.
Just like you don't like VC.
He'd still be in the lineup for me.
I want to know how much. I want to know how much the general manager has to say, or at least how much Drury has to say. Because when I was watching that 24/7 show, I said it to you guys a few times: the All or Nothing on not HBO, on Amazon Prime. Dubas, the GM of the Maple Leafs, they showed a player or a GM coach meeting almost every day. He's like, this is what I need for the cap space. This guy's coming out this game. This guy's got to play this game, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that's the case. It's not a cap space problem because Kravtsov doesn't make a lot of money. But I'm just saying they had a lot of meetings about the lineup. So, yeah, I'm sure Gallant doesn't like him very much. But you never know. Drury might not like him very much either. But at the same time, if he's trying to trade him, he should let him play.
Yeah, you want him to succeed so much so you can have a little more value, sure.
But they literally had a whiteboard, like Cousin Ed should get one of these with the lineup, with just like magnets with the guys going in and out, with the salary right next to the player's headshot right next to him, and they're just moving it around like a puzzle. And he's like, "This is what I need. This is what you should be doing. I'm trying to trade this guy. This guy's got to stay in the lineup." It was a very involved process. So I'm really curious to know how much Drury is actually involved in that.
I mean, I would bet that it's very similar. I'd be shocked if it's not because
during the season.
So yeah, this was during the season. It was like road to the playoffs or whatever, and they showed it was like I don't know exactly what the time span was, but I think it was pretty much the whole season, and they covered like 3 or 4 games at a time or whatever in each episode. Yeah, I think it was like almost 6 episodes long.
That's pretty
cool. You guys got to check it out. It's kind of like old news. Oh no, it was the COVID. It was the COVID season when they were in the bubble. That's what it was. So it was kind of like a shortened season, but they covered pretty much the whole thing when they were in the hotels and everything.
Well, I'm sure that the GM has a say. I mean, he hired the coach, so it's kind of like the coach's boss, But at the same time, he's not the coach. I mean, if you're hiring like. It's kind of like if you hire somebody for a specific task and then you just tell them how to do their task, then what's the point of hiring them? You just do it, So I think there's a separation there and understanding You're hiring this coach. And for the most part, you know, that coach is going to be allowed to coach, right? I mean, otherwise, what's the point? That's the way I see it, at least.
Well,
But yeah, they definitely influence them. I'm sure they talk and collaborate, you know, for sure.
they have to be on the same page as far as just like in football, you have to have a style of play that the team is playing, and you have to get those players similar. So if Drury and Gallant are on the same page, they're going to be agreeing on what kind of players they need to get, who's playing, and the style, and so on. So,
well, I mean, like Eddie said, though, if they don't like Kraftsov and they want to move Kraftsov, then playing him is the easiest way to do that. Getting him some success, allowing him to build up some value, unless you just plan on dumping him for nothing, which is a waste, complete waste. The kid's got talent. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's got talent. Like, let him run, see what he's got. Either he's going to be a valuable member of your team or a trade asset, or he's going to bust. One of those three things, and just let it happen. If you're scratching him, and look, I agree with scratching him once in a while for, like, you know, let him bulk up, like with Bushnevich. We talked about this. He needs to bulk up a little bit for him to really be effective. So he probably can't play every game. I get that. But he's been out for a while with injuries. He's finally healthy, and he's got a couple of games in. He's playing well. You know, he's contributing. So I don't understand why he's out. That's my thing. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It has to be some kind of personal thing, or there has to be something that happens behind the scenes that we just are not privy to, and that's possible. But it can't be based on his play. It can't be, because his play has been good. You guys have to admit that. I mean, he's good. He back checks. He's been winning some board battles. He dangles. I don't know what you want from the kid, you know?
I went crazy when he scored that goal against Ottawa.
That was an alpha goal. He
That
takes
was-
a shot. He hits the guy right in the throat. Gets the puck right off the guy's throat. It was a Hamonic. Get it right off his throat, and then puts it far side, lefty from the right post, far side across the goalie's body. That was a sick shot. That was a great goal, man. He's got a lot of skill. There's no question. By the way, Hamonic takes that off the throat, returns to the game like 10 minutes later. And then I watched the World Cup, and this guy's on the floor crying because he like tripped on a rock on the field or something. And I was just like, I said to the people I was with, I was like, you know, this hockey player got hit in the throat with a puck the other day and came back into the game. Just
I watched briefly the soccer, and it's just ridiculous. Every time they collide, the guy's laying on the ground like he's having a baby.
The only thing I'll say about soccer is they're running for like 50 straight minutes. It's pretty hard, you know, like just literally running around for 50 straight minutes. So they might be doing that just to get a breather. There's no whistles, you know. But anyway, all right, enough on Kraftsov. So goalie struggles generally. It was beginning of the year was Halak, Shesterkin too at this point. I mean, coach, it is a little bit of him being left out to dry. But last year, like you said, he was left out to dry, and he had great stats. You know, he led the league in goals saved above expected. This year, he's 22nd. You know, so
I absolutely hate that stat.
It's a good stat.
It's
It
ridiculous.
tracks,
But anyway,
well, it's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous.
You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at, again, he lets up that overtime, somewhat of a breakaway, the same way he let up that goal the last episode we talked about, where the defenseman's leaning him towards one side. There's no way he saves breakaways all alone, straight on. But when the D's pushing him to one side, he's guessing something wrong.
Yeah.
They should not have scored that goal in overtime in Ottawa. He should have saved that.
And he opens 5-hole too much. I don't know what's going on.
Understand it. The D played him right. I don't know.
Well, you know, listen, he is.
I don't mean to blame the goalie, but I'm blaming him on that one.
He's given up some soft goals. It's just the reality.
For him, that's a save he should
make. I just think generally there's an average goalie make the save. Shesterkin's letting in goals that the average goalie should save. Not him, but just the average goalie.
Is that a new stat? Like goals expected?
But goals saved above expected is a good stat, coach.
Goals saved above the average goalie.
Yeah, that's what goals saved above expected is. That's what it essentially is, right? So it's you're tracking where the shots come from and how many of those go in. So it's a stat based on probabilities, is what it is.
All right, let's not beat this to death.
I'm trying to explain it.
I
You
know
not want to know what it is?
You have explained it.
Have I explained this one? I don't know.
Yes, I don't care about it.
This is the cousin. This is the cousin Ed explain stats segment.
Well, Coach Ed doesn't want me to do it, so
and this is the John Tortorella. I don't care about it. Stop the puck.
You're not all of our fans, so.
So anyway, so it just tracks where the shot is, where it's coming from, and what the probability is that it's going to go in on the average goalie from that shot, and that's how you can determine if it's a medium danger shot, a low danger chance, or a high danger chance. And then, for example, a high danger chance in the middle between the circles might be, and I'm just throwing this out there, maybe 7 out of 10 times it goes in on the average goalie. And they know that by tracking it. It's not just a made up thing. It's based on actual shots in games being tracked by hockey nerds and figuring out what the percentage of goals go in. And then they just prorate it in a way where it's based on the average goaltender. So if, maybe Sorokin saves all 10 of them and Halak lets in all 10 of them, but what is the average goaltender going to do? That's the expected saves that should be made on that chance. So if for example, Shesterkin gives up 5 and it's expected he would make 4, then his goals saved above expected is going to be 1, right? Because he's or vice versa. What did I say? If he saves 5 and he's expected to give up 6, then his goals saved above expected will be 1. Does that make sense?
No, if they score 1, what do you? No, I don't think that makes sense.
I think I'm flipping it. Hold on.
Yeah, you flipped it.
If he's expected, if he's
can't
expected,
even explain the stat.
No, I just explained it. If he's expected to make 5 saves out of 10, but he makes 6 saves out of 10, then he has saved 1 goal above expected because he's expected to let in 5 goals and he's only let in 4. Okay. So he's got 1 goal saved above expected. That's better for the team. The higher that is, a better way of tracking stats because wins and goals against average are very team oriented. It's not necessarily indicative of the goalie. It's kind of like ERA in baseball. If you have a great defense behind you, you can have a low ERA and be giving up line drives all over the place and not really pitching well, right? You got a good team behind you. So you have to make it independent of your team. How are you performing? And that's one way to do it. But anyway, not to bore Coach any further. He let me go on there.
Just stop the puck.
Last thing, Coach, the team has been struggling on home ice. They're 5-6-4, which really is 5-10 because hockey, obviously the 4 is losses. They're just, you get a point in those games. But 5-10 at home, that's not going to cut it, is it? I mean,
no, that's not good.
Not when we have so many season tickets.
Yeah.
Well, not just that. I mean, I just remember when I was a kid, one of the first things that, I learned as a hockey fan from my dad was, take care of home ice and go 500 on the road and you're good, So that's kind of always been my thing. The teams that are good, like Boston, what's Boston's record at home this year? They lost?
Well, they haven't lost many games at all.
No, I know, but I think they're undefeated at home. They're 14-0-1 at home.
Wow.
First place, 6-3-0 on the road. That's good for the road, but I mean, that's whatever,
Wait, did any of us predict them to make the playoffs at all? I know I didn't.
I didn't pick New Jersey either.
Well, I picked Jersey, but I didn't pick Boston.
Well, we'll see.
Because of the injuries.
It's a long season. So you just look around the league at the teams. Usually the teams that are the tops of the divisions are good at home. So just something to look out for. I mean, I feel like, we've been decent on the road, but if you take care of home ice, and you're decent on the road, you're going to make the playoffs. So they really need to pick it up at home. And I don't know. Something to look out for. Anyway, all right. Let's move
I'm
on.
just throwing it out there. After I posted the Garden Faithful Instagram post, they won the game. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh God. All right.
I'll send you
Well-
guys that one.
Well, you better post it again next time.
Yeah.
You might have
Post-
to become the mascot.
All right, let's move on to the broadcast banter. Everyone's favorite section.
Boys,
I-
I just got home, so I got to shower up and do some things around here. So thanks for letting me hop on while I was driving home. And you can all thank the MTA track training course for keeping me for 8 full hours. So
Oof, that's a rough one.
Thanks for joining
Yeah.
us, bro.
all right, boys. Thanks
Good night,
again.
buddy.
See you
Later.
next
Love
week.
you guys.
Love you.
Love you too. I'll talk
Love
to you
you.
tomorrow.
It's a power play goal.
So I got one really good one from the Senators game in Ottawa. Sam says, well, the Lafreniere family is here, and mom will not accept a penalty call on Lafreniere right after he high sticks a guy in the face. The ref didn't call a penalty. Fans start booing, and then he says that. It's just perfect. There's just, I don't know. There was a lot in these games, but that one.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, and then in the Blues game, Coach, they just talked about Sammy Blais the whole game because he was a former Blue, but they also talked about Pavel Buchnevich. So Micheletti, I don't know if you caught this, but he tells a story about running into Pavel Buchnevich in the hallway. Did you hear about this?
No, I was listening to that game on the radio.
So he goes, I ran into he's missing a tooth, Sam.
Yeah.
He's got a tooth missing, right? So he's like, oh yeah, he's missing a tooth. And Joe's like, yeah, I ran into him in the hallway before the game. And I said, hey, Pavel, what's going on? You're missing a tooth. And I was like, what did you do? Get in a fight? And he said, no, Zuki did it to me. So apparently Zuccarello high stick Buchnevich in a Wild versus Blues game and knocked his tooth out. Like, what are the odds of that? And then Sam goes, oh, former teammates, good friends. I was just like,
I was dying when they were telling that story.
That's the best
my-
part. That's the best part. Sam Rosen's little comments after.
Yeah, he like wraps up the story
Yeah.
to transition. Like, what is going on here? Yeah, that's really the two ones I wanted to highlight, but I don't know if you guys have any.
I
No,
don't
I
have
actually
none.
listened to 3 games on the radio, so it was a little tough.
You've been working a lot, Coach.
Yeah.
You got that job at the airport?
Yeah, we've been doing a pretty big job at the airport, some other stuff, so it's a little rough at night.
Well, you could put Sam and Micheletti on if you put it on the Fubo app.
No, I
instead-
did that on the one, yeah.
And then you can listen to them if you prefer listening to them. Who does the radio? Maloney?
Actually, Rupper's been on. I wonder if Maloney's sick or something.
No, Maloney's been on the MSG. That's why.
Oh, he's been in between the
benches.
benches.
Yeah. So they have Rupper doing it? That's
Yeah, Rupper.
Who does the play-by-play? Kenny Albert?
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Dude, that's almost better. I prefer Kenny
They're
Albert
really
and
good.
Rupper.
Yeah, they're good.
Rupper's good.
I would prefer Kenny Albert and Rupper in the MSG booth to Joe and
On
Micheletti.
TV.
To Joe and Sam. Anyway, wow, good for Rupper. All right, let's move into our stars of the week. Okay, so we got offensive player of the week. I'm going to start us off with this one. You know, I almost want to give it to nobody, even though their guys got a bunch of points, because I'm just been so disappointed with the way the team's been playing. But I'm going to give it to Kreider. He had 3 goals, including a shorty, a power play goal, and an even strength goal. I think he had a power play goal. No, 2 even strength and a shorty. I'm going to give it to him because of on that 6th goal of the game. It was such a big goal, and the emotion that he showed after. Giving it to him. Mike?
Ditto. Yeah, same exact reason.
Coach?
Same thing. I don't think there's many others you can give it to.
Well, you can give it to Panarin with his 5 points or Zibanejad with his 5 points, but I feel like those
Nah.
guys are so good. They just get those points even when they play terribly. It's like, I don't know. I'm getting fed up with it.
How
All
did
right,
you
so-
what did you guys we didn't talk at all about the defensive pairing changes.
Well, we were going to get there when we got to Coach Ed's neighborhood.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were going after. Okay.
Well, we weren't, but we're going to make shift and
Now
just
you're
do
gonna
it.
do it. Okay.
Okay. Defensive player of the week. Mike, who you got?
I'm putting the choo-choo train in there.
Same.
For obvious reasons. Meeting 3 fights, throwing the body. He's actually been playing a lot better. So Trouba for this week.
Yeah, I picked him just for the way he handled that interview and the way he handled those games, trying to spark the team. Not really based on anything other than that. Coach.
Just for him throwing down with Brady Kachuk. That was a tough one. That was good stuff.
That was an even fight too.
Yeah.
Those two big boys, man. That was a good fight.
Yeah, I'm going with Trouba too. We'll go with an agreement on both of them.
Wow. All right, so let's move to our highlight play of the week.
I'm going with Kreider's shorty
Yeah, that was a nice one.
to kind of put the game away. That was a big turning point. The Blues could have tied it up, and they got the shorty.
And it was a nice goal too. I'm gonna go with Laffy's deflection on the Zibanejad shot in the Blues game. Might be a little bit of recency bias. When the games are earlier in the week, if you don't notate this is gonna be my highlight play.
I know that happens. Yeah,
it's hard for me to go back, but that was a nice deflection by Laffy, so I'm gonna give him some love on that. And Mike,
I'm going with your boy Kratzov's goal in the Ottawa game.
you're just
Y'all
trying to
love-
suck. You're just trying to suck up the Cubs.
I was at the game. I was right in front of us.
Why would he care about that? Mike doesn't care about sucking up to me. What are you kidding me? What? He's just a normal person. That's the difference.
Mike's far from normal.
All right, let's do our Jesper Foss Key Contributor Award. I'm gonna give this this time. I'm gonna give it to Capo Caco only because
you feel bad that he's not getting points.
That's part of it, but I can't give him offensive player of the week because he's not getting points. He's got highlights, but he doesn't finish on those plays, so I can't give him highlight player of the week. But I just feel like when he's on the ice, most of the time he's dictating play, he's cycling, he's a huge contributor to the offense. He gets a lot of third assists or like plays that he won't actually get an assist on, such as the Keandre Miller tying goal last game. Laffy gets Kako does all the work on the boards. Player takes it away. Laffy pokes it off their stick. Miller scores. Goal, Miller from Lafreniere. Nothing from Kako. Kako did all the work controlling that puck down low. So things like that. I'm going to give it to him for that reason. What about you, Coach?
I'm going with Schneid's.
Another goal and assist for Schneider in these 4 games. He's up to 6
got more
points.
goals than Keandre.
He's got one less goal than Lafreniere. Just saying.
Yeah, I like Schneid's. I like the way he's playing. I like when he was paired with Keandre.
He's playing good. Mike?
I'm giving it to Ryan Lindgren. I wanted to give him my defensive award, but I had to give that to Trouba, so I think Lindy deserves some love.
Not only does he deserve love, but in the 3-1 win over Ottawa, he had 3 primary assists in that game.
Yeah, that was great.
And he also was like the number 1 star of the game, and like in 4 games in a row, he was a star of the game, right? So yeah, I like that pick. That's true. Love me some Lindgren.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Lindgren as a player. Take him on my team anytime. But again, he shouldn't be getting the star of the week that many times with the team they have.
He can get the key contributor.
No, I'm talking about by the
Oh yeah.
Stars of the
MSG
game.
star of the game. I love him. I mean, it's great that he's doing it, but guys like Keandre should be getting. There's something wrong with this picture.
Yeah. Well, Lindgren had a few, and then he was the number one star at Ottawa. And then before last week, he had a few as well. But Miller, like you just said, Keandre, was the number 2 star against St. Louis, coach. So that's a good sign. All right. Let's go to Coach Ed's Copyright Doghouse Award. So last week, Coach Ed had Keandre in and Kraftsov in. And he said, Kraftsov's got to do something for me to take him out. So the moment everyone's been waiting for is Kraftsov out of Coach Ed's doghouse.
They're both out.
They're both out of the doghouse.
Wow.
All right. And who's going in?
That's a tough one. I'm going to put Panarin in there for that sloppy style of play that gets under my craw all the time. He's got to figure it out. Otherwise, I really don't mean to put a burden on him, but if he doesn't wake up with that kind of situation, the Rangers aren't going to succeed. If Gallant continues to play him and he just gets to keep doing that kind of stuff, I don't see it. The Rangers getting anywhere if he doesn't learn his lesson. I thought he did in the playoffs last year, but it didn't even hesitate the whole season this year so far.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to disagree with you on that one. So last week,
But I hate to put him in with all the points he's getting, but it's not all about points.
now with him, he gets points when he plays terrible, so it doesn't matter. So last week, I put Trouba and Miller in, and Gallant remained in. He had been in for me for a while. So I'm going to take Trouba and Miller out, but I'm leaving Gallant in because for a lot of reasons, but mainly because he scratched Kraftsov tonight for no reason. So he's gonna remain in, and also for the Panarin stuff. And I'm gonna put in Panarin and Zibanejad, not just
Zibby
Panarin.
as well, huh?
I'm putting them both in because when Trouba acts the way he acts there, Panarin and Zibanejad as the top skill players on the team need to respond to the captain. You have to respect the captain, and I just feel like it's not there.
Well, they have to take up that leadership role as well and back up what he's saying.
Exactly. They need to support him, and they need to
Right.
push and care as much as he does. And until I see fire from one of them, until I don't care how many points they can get, 0 points. I'll take them out next week if I just see energy and emotion from those two guys. That's all I want to say. So that's in the doghouse for me. And Mike, last week you had taken Panarin out and you put Keandre in. So is Keandre out?
Yes, Miller is out.
Okay, so Keandre's out. And who's in?
I'm gonna back you up, and I'm putting Gallant in also.
Boy,
think
you're
he needs-
really sucking up to Cousin Eddie, huh?
I had it down.
Nice to get a little support.
He needs to learn how to tighten that leash. It starts with him. So I don't care if we lose games, but if we lose games hustling and trying, like you said, a little bit of emotion and effort, then he'll come out of the doghouse. But until that happens, he's staying in there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm just not happy with him at all right now. That could change though. I'm flexible. They don't call it the Cousin Ed flop for nothing. I could flop at any could flop at any moment. So unfortunately, Little Ed is not here for this part. So Trouba and Kraftsov are still in his doghouse. So now Kraftsov did enough to get out finally, for him, but who knows? Maybe by next time he'll get traded or turn the puck over and never get out of the doghouse. So we'll see. Anyway, so all right, so that's our stars of the week. Coach, you make a good point. The Rangers made some changes to the D. They put Keandre Miller with Braden Schneider on the second pair, and they bumped Trouba down to the third pair. And they've kind of been rolling that way.
On the next night after we discussed it on the podcast.
Yeah, we should be the coach, right? Maybe Gallant's
Seriously.
listening. But what are your thoughts on that? Not just short term, but long term. Do you like the idea of Miller with Schneider as a second pair?
I liked it. I thought they were playing well. I think it frees up Trouba from getting so many minutes. And I think over the course of a full season, it's a necessity not to have that many minutes. We saw last year in the playoffs that Fox kind of looked tired against the Penguins, and that we saw eye test, and I think it helps. I mean, there's no reason why you should have Schneider buried on a third line, a third pairing, and only getting 8 minutes a game or something, and Fox getting 28, Trouba getting 25. Doesn't
Well,
make any sense to me.
Fox is going to get what he gets. I mean, he
I
plays almost half
understand.
the game.
But
every game.
you don't need to in certain situations. We talked about it before, in my opinion.
So more importantly than the D pairs at even strength, coach, I really want to understand the Rangers thinking shorthanded. I just don't get it. I mean, I go through it every game. I look at time on ice. You guys know that because I'll text you annoying things sometimes. I'll text you. I'll show you that like VC has played 5 minutes more than Lafreniere in the game or something like that. So just so you guys see that. But I look at not only that, but shorthanded time on ice in particular with the defense, because we talked about that a lot coming in. How we would, if we were coaching, bench, not bench. Bench is the theme of this episode. Sit, rest. Fox shorthanded, right? Give him some minutes off. Fox last game against 4 minutes and 56 seconds shorthanded. Keandre 4 minutes 29 seconds shorthanded. Trouba 257, Lindgren 212, Schneider 59 seconds. I don't understand it. I mean, I would be rolling Schneider and Trouba as much as I can shorthanded.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, I don't see why it's like you said last time that he probably gets stuck out there in certain situations, but give him that break.
I guess you also have to look at who took those penalties too, right? So that is something that you got to keep an eye on as well. So like, for example, Lindgren had 4 penalty minutes in that game. So maybe that's why, but that doesn't affect Schneider getting on the PK, It maybe explains why Miller played 4 minutes, 30 seconds, but it doesn't necessarily explain why Fox played 5 minutes shorthanded. But I mean, listen, then you look at the forwards, Zibanejad and Goodrow, almost 4 minutes, over 3 minutes shorthanded. Trocheck 39 seconds, Kako a minute. So I don't know. He needs to spread the shorthanded time on ice out a little bit, but we'll see. The D pairs on even strength, I like them for now. Let's see how they go. What do you think of Hayek, by the way? We didn't bring him up.
I like the way he plays. I mean, I don't see any glaring liabilities.
He's surprisingly like physical, right? I mean,
yeah, he takes the body enough. He takes the body enough.
Yeah, he hits. Like I like that. I mean, he's got a reputation as not doing that, but I think he's a physical player. He's not like a Trouba physical, but I mean,
but he angles well. He rides the guy. He does. Yep. He hits enough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's the right term, but he does what he's supposed to do when he finishes the check. When
he finishes his checks. That's the right way of putting it. All right. So what do we got left? Let's bring it over to Mikey P with the 150.
Yep.
All right. Rangers at 150 with Mikey P.
And we're gonna have to hear the Bruins stats ad nauseum, I guess. But go ahead, Mikey. Enjoy it.
Before we get into trivia, it's time to throw it over to Mikey P with your Rangers at 150, the fastest 150 seconds in the National Hockey Podcast League.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rangers Ed 150. I apologize for my absence last week, but I was under the weather and we're back in the game. We got a lot to get through in 150 seconds. Out west in the Pacific Division, Vegas is still atop the standings, so nobody's surprised. They're 6-3-1 through their last 10. They had a hot start. They went through a bit of a mediocre streak with the latter half of November. They just had a big OT win against the Bruins. They got a tough schedule this week with the Rangers, Flyers, and a rematch against Boston, so we'll see how they do through a couple tough games in the East. Vegas aside, the Kraken are still sitting in second place, but they have dropped their last two, one to Florida and the second to Montreal. They're also on the East Coast swing with the Caps on Friday and the Kraken on Sunday, so we'll see if they can reattach the wheels and get the cart rolling again. Finally, we're still waiting on the Oilers and Flames to show up to the party, as they have been nothing short of perfectly mediocre in the last couple weeks. In the Central Division, some unfortunate news for the Avs on Wednesday, with Nathan MacKinnon out for 4 weeks with an upper body injury. MacKinnon blocked a shot early in the first period against the Flyers and didn't return to the game. We finally had some movement in the standings, with the Jets claiming first place in the division ahead of the Stars and Minnesota Wild. The Jets had a big win over the Stars, Avs, and Panthers in the past couple weeks, and they've earned their spot atop the division. The Wild have also snuck up into third place after an abysmal start. Good news for Wild fans out there, as Ryan Hartman has resumed skating. For those of you that don't know, Ryan Hartman had a career-high 34 goals last season and was an absolute workhorse on their first line. So he should provide the Wild with a bit of a jump to their lineup. Back east in the Atlantic Division, Boston is still sitting in first place, 3 points ahead of the Leafs with 3 games in hand. Matt Murray has played extremely well through the latter half of November for the Leafs and early December, but he is exceedingly injury prone, so tread on thin ice with Murray if you rely on him for fantasy in particular. And the Leafs, if they do have to rely on Ilya Samsonov for any extended duration this season. Detroit is also sitting in third place ahead of the Lightning and Panthers respectively, but great news for the Lightning, as they got Anthony Cirelli back to their lineup after off-season shoulder surgery. The Lightning have struggled immensely to find any consistency in their lineup this season. With Anthony Cirelli back, mark my words, you will start to see just that, and the Lightning will be back towards the top of the standings in a couple weeks. Finally, in the Metro Division, New Jersey is still atop the standings, sitting at 21-4-1 with a plus 39 goal differential and an 11-1-0 record on the road this season. Carolina still sits in second place, and the Pittsburgh Penguins have been on wheels for the last couple weeks, posting an 8-1-1 record through their last 10. The Islanders have come back down to earth and have settled into mediocrity, which seems to be the theme of this division of late. With the exception of the Devils and the Penguins, not one team in the Metro Division has more than 5 wins in their last 10 games, so pick up the pace, Metro Division. Got some exciting hockey coming up this week, so stay tuned for more updates next week. This has been your 150.
Kudos to, I mean, love Mike, love what he does, but I'm still laughing at Coach Ed with the Bruin stat comment. Anyway, all right, let's get into the trivia. Thanks, Mikey, for that.
Wait, we're doing trivia without Ed?
Oh no, we
cheating.
can't.
We
No,
can't
no,
do
we
it
can't.
without Eddie. There's an
That's
asterisk.
cheating.
All right, let's get. That's fair. Yeah, because you can't
Talk
give a
about
point.
cheating.
Well, yeah, because the only option would be to text him, and if we do that, he's gonna look it up on his phone. I won't allow that. But all right, cool. So let's go enjoy the game. It's 11:20, so it should be over by 2:30 in the morning for us now. Mike's been watching it the whole time, so he's good. But all right, good episode, boys. Hopefully the Rangers can carry their play from the third against St. Louis, into these games. We got Vegas, Colorado on the road, tough games. The easy part of the schedule is over, unfortunately, and then back home against New Jersey. So I don't know. I'll take 2-1 in these games and be happy.
They gotta play these teams tough if they're gonna do anything. So obviously they have to work hard, and they're capable of it. They have the goaltending if they play up to par, and they have the team to play these teams. So
yeah,
it's all between the ears.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But all right. That'll do it. Let's go enjoy the game. Love you guys. Until next week.
Love you guys.
Hey, guys.
Let's go Rangers. Don't
Let's
give up.
go.
Don't give up on them.
No, don't give up. Love you guys.